It's so perfect. Womp womp. I think I just broke a needle. I don't actually know what to do now that I'm halfway through this t-shirt sleeve. So today I woke up humbled but defeated because I decided to go ahead and create these t-shirts thinking that I already knew how to sew, and the t-shirts turned out terrible. So I bought 2 cotton fabrics, one white one which was a cotton interlock at 240 GSM and a teal cotton jersey at 180 GSM, if that means anything. I am fully aware that I mentally prepared myself in my previous video talking about how I would learn and research the fabrics and understand the stitch length, the width, the needle, if there was a needle to be used. I did not do any of those things. Spoiler alert, the t-shirts came out horrendous. I mean, they're okay, but they're not great because I got a little bit too confident thinking that how different would it be transferring your skills that you're still learning from a muslin cloth over to an extremely soft, stretchy jersey fabric. Who'd have thought? It was really difficult. Anyway, so there were mistakes, there was frustration, but we are here today and we persevere. I also now know what the grain line is, thank you very much. And I am ironing and pressing the fabric before I transfer the templates. It's a habit now that I think I'm slowly building and is becoming second nature. So I think we're okay on that front. So the challenges with both t-shirts. First of all, the teal fabric, awful. Would not recommend to a beginner at all. Stay away from it, go for heavier or better jersey cottons if there is, and just anything thicker than 180 GSM. I even tried steaming it, ironing it, just to try and pin the sides and the edges down because they just kept curling, and honestly I kind of gave up at the end, which is why the t-shirt on the side is quite skewed. And I like to think it's because of the curling that I sewed one of the sleeves inside out, because I just couldn't distinguish which side was the right side versus the wrong side. That was definitely just an excuse though. I knew exactly what side it was on. But because the fabric was so thin, I didn't think it could handle being seam ripped and re-sewn, so I just left it. By comparison, the white fabric was a dream to work with. It was just so much nicer, it was more structured, it just behaved nicely. I did notice that my fabric, it was skewing a little bit after the needle, so I was kind of focused on just keeping the fabric really straight. And because of it, I think I was pulling the fabric a little bit too much.
When you're sewing it, you're pulling it.
I wasn't pulling it.
You were getting angry, I heard you.
But I reckon it's because of my presser foot pressure. I didn't know this until the post-mortem of these t-shirts. And then there is the obvious issue of the lettucing of the sleeves, which I found out there were a multitude of factors that could be contributing to this, and I just so happened to be doing all of them. The most obvious one was using the wrong needle. I didn't know there were different needles for different types of fabrics, so I used the wrong needle, which was essentially cutting through the elastic of the t-shirt, which is why the elasticity died essentially. I also broke a needle sewing the white shirt. Like, it's fully bent, and I don't actually know what to do now that I'm halfway through this t-shirt sleeve. So annoying. And then replace it with another universal needle. So to combat the lettucing, I read that you could steam it, you could iron it, and that you should actually leave the t-shirt to rest after you sewed it. For how long, I don't know, so I left it for 30 minutes, but because I'd cut through the elastic of the fabric, it wasn't going to bounce back. So that was a waste of time. And this is really embarrassing, but I was tweaking the settings of the stitch length width. I had it on this one, but I kind of want to try that one, or this one. They look the same. Okay, so this is the straight stitch, which I realized I didn't want because I need a zigzag stitch. And this is just rippling because I've ripped it off, but it's looking okay. Okay, I've tested a couple of other zigzag stitches, but I think this is by far the most zigzaggy, the very first one. I don't like these. What even is that? Now, every single part of the t-shirt has a different type of stitch length and width. And I think there were a couple of skip stitches too. So the teal fabric kept getting stuck and jammed in the machine, that every time I pulled it out, I was just stretching the fabric and ruining it. And it was just an overall not great sewing experience. Okay, so take 2, I am going to adjust the settings of the sewing machine, and I also have ballpoint needles now, so hopefully I won't be destroying the fabric as I'm sewing it. So let's see how this goes. I'm hoping that I did all the mistakes during the first batch of t-shirts, and hopefully it clicks this time. I don't know how some people make sewing look so easy, or like they just started this year. Like, no you didn't, you've been preparing. You prepared, you did that multiple times, you rehearsed that, and you got that perfect before you said, today I feel like making a t-shirt. No, today I'm making a t-shirt. I'm making it, and you will see that it's not easy. I'm just jealous. Wait, I need to show you the cat, he's so cute. Hi! Hello! I got my leader fabric, which is just scrap pieces of the cotton that I'm going to be using, and I folded it in half just so that it would mimic exactly how I would be sewing the pieces together. And I also need to change the needles. I think I need to use the 80 by 12 needle, this one here on the far left. It's so perfect. Womp womp. I don't want to seam rip it. I'm going to use this opportunity to sew the neckband together. I've just spent so much time redoing and attaching this annoying sleeve, but it's on now finally. The problem was the stitch felt as though it was going to snap when I stretched it a little bit, so I had to redo it, change my zigzag stitch, tweak the settings, and I'm so done with it. I think I have issues with the ease of the sleeve, and this is just a t-shirt and I'm struggling with it. Okay, so I did not enjoy that. I recreated the t-shirt and it came out pretty good. It took me a few days just because I had to step away. If you are learning to sew, I would very much advise to stick with something with less flexibility maybe, unless you want to go straight into the deep end. Anyway, so let's break it down. So this is the t-shirt. It is finished, and that's the important thing, that I finished it. I changed so many things on my machine. I changed the tension, I changed the needle, I changed the stitch length. I also experimented with the different types of zigzags. I am concerned now because I don't know how to put everything back, especially the presser foot tension. I should have made a little mark on the dial, which I did not. It's fine, it's fine. So you may or may not know, but I like to leave a lot of seam allowance. So what I did, because I don't have a serger, which I think a lot of people have to clean up their seams, I don't have that. So first I stitched it, and then I did a second stitch just to kind of like lock it in. And then I cut really close to that second stitch, just so that it would be a lot neater and smaller. And I was really proud of the armholes, like the armpit, like look how nicely that lined up. And then there was also the situation of hemming it, but not only hemming it, but also making sure that the seams were nice and neat. One sleeve is slightly lettuced just because I didn't change the presser foot tension. I did on the other side, which is why it looks so much nicer. I did have to manually stitch the corner where the shoulder meets the neckband because again, I didn't follow through with the stitch, so there was just a tiny bit of gapping there. For the neckband, I didn't know how to finish it. So I attached the neckband together and then I just spread it flat and then I hand stitched it. It's so messy, but it's done. I really struggled with the sleeves and adding ease to the sleeves. There was one side that I probably attached 6 times and I was so worried that I was messing up the cotton. I've still got thread hanging off of it where I haven't cleaned it up. Anyway, after I'd sewn it on, I would stretch it ever so slightly and I could feel the thread was about to snap if I put any more tension on it. And my fears came into fruition when my husband tried it on for the first time, and as soon as he put his arm through the armhole, we just heard a so that was the beginning of the endless cycle of just reattaching the sleeve and tweaking the zigzag stitch. It got to a point where I sewed it on. I didn't backstitch or seal the stitch. I kind of like stretched it a bit. And then I got to a point where I couldn't feel the stretch anymore. And then that's when I tied the threads together. I know that's not how you're supposed to do it, but now I'm confident that when he puts it on, it's not gonna snap. And that's it. So yeah, here's a side-by-side of the first one and then the second one. There's still a long way to go, but I think it definitely is a big improvement, especially at the sleeves and just the overall structure. I think it is more symmetrical. I'm very excited to go back to muslin cloth again and just play around with that. And yeah, thanks for the words of encouragement. It was really nice reading all your comments. And I even used a leader fabric, which was recommended, so thank you for that. And this is my little practice piece. Me practicing on my zigzag stitches and actually using it as a leader piece. Like look, it even trailed off at one point. Practice with the piece of fabric that you're using, play around with the settings, get to know your machine. If you're gonna sew on anything stretchy, check your needle. Just check your needle. So 2 things that you will probably not even think about is the presser foot pressure and the type of needle that you're using for the fabric that you wanna sew. Everything else is easy from there, but if you don't have the right needle, you could just be breaking your fabric, which I did multiple times. I knew sewing was gonna be difficult. I never realized just how steep of a learning curve it's gonna be. And I've only played with 2 fabrics. That's crazy. Next, I do have to create my own t-shirt with the dart at the bust, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. I'm a little bit worried now because I think I've gained weight since I made the template. Luckily, the teal fabric is extremely stretchy, so it should be fine. All right, see you later.